Hello and welcome back to cedh bling builds. This is number 1 in a series of 5 where I'll be covering all of the apexes from the curio set. I know this video is like 2 years too late, but what are you going to do? So not all 5 of the apexes are cedh viable, but we will try to make them as efficient as possible, right? As optimal as possible. And we'll start things off with the strongest of the lot, Vadrok, Apex of Thunder, the jaskai, Elemental Dinosaur Cat. And what Vadrok wants to do is abuse dockside Extortionist and bounce spells to generate infinite treasure, infinite ETBs, and infinite storm count to do things to find a win condition once we find our combo pieces. So we're going to start things off with Vadrok. Remember, I know Icor is, like I said, 2 years old, but I still see a lot of casual players. I still see everybody forget about this mutatability that you cannot mutate onto a human. So yeah, always remember that. So we have Vadrok, and we have Vadrok, and we have Vadrok. You gotta have all the arts. That's how we do things on this channel. There's Lord Dracus, which is pretty much a baby version of Vadrok. You can enable the combo with the 2 less mana and 1 less white mana, which might be important. And then the star of the show, Dockside Extortionist. And then all the bounce spells. We have a Chain of Vapor, Winds of Rebuke, Snap, Into the Royal, because once you have the loop going and you generate your infinite mana, your infinite treasures, you can then start kicking this from the graveyard. And then into the Royal, we also have Blink of an Eye, of course. And so a new addition to this deck, which when this card was spoiled, it made me think of this deck, and it made me think of all the apexes and maybe making a series of it, is this card right here, a Geist Wave, which is pretty much like a Blink of an Eye and Into the Royal without the kicker. Just don't screw yourself over when you just infinite bouncing dockside loops with Vadrok, because you might draw yourself up. And since we're in Jaskai, we have access to the most broken intuition line as of right now. We have the intuition into an Underworld Breach, or a Lion's Eye Diamond, or Sevine's Reclamation. Whatever your opponent chooses, it doesn't matter, it's GG from there. A Brain Freeze, because it is WinCon. I can try to Brain Freeze my opponents, mill them out, or I could just Brain Freeze myself and then cast a Thassa's Oracle from the grave under an Underworld Breach. We have Gilded Drake, not something you can mutate onto, of course not, but there have been moments where I assembled all the generals on the board onto my side in one game, very slow game, and we'll talk about how that happened a little bit later. I mean, clearly this is how it happened, but why it happened? Why would the game go that late? Some cards, a Ranger Captain of Vios, I really gotta pimp this one out. And Imperial Recruiter, same thing. Just never got around to do anything with these. I'm more of a blue-black X spell slinger. Like, creatures aren't my favorite thing, so I just never got around to blinging these type of cards out. Recruiter of the Guard. Spell Seeker, to help find our blue bounce spells. Esper Sentinel, not a mutate target, but still incredible value. Spectral Sailor is a mutate target. Not that there's really anything I want to mutate onto besides the dockside extortionist. Ragavan. Right, so we're going to get into the ritual creatures. We have the Ragavan, the Prospector, a Simian Spirit Guide, and Burgi, which is a god, so it is a mutatable creature. And I call these the let me do my combo pieces. We have Grand Abolisher. We have Frame Scroll Celebrant, which becomes Revel in Silence, which is your opponents can't cast spells or activate abilities of Planewalker during this turn. So pretty much like a second copy of Silence for an extra white mana, which is a little heavy. We have a new addition, Malevolent Hermit, which turns into Benevolent Geist, which again, if played my cards right, it can allow me to combo off sort of uncontested, right? Because it's only my non-creature spells. They could still kill the Lord Drakis or the Dockside somehow. We have our tutor package. We have our shitty Gamble, because Gamble's just, for me, just the worst fucking card ever. We have a Solve the Equation, just another card to help find our blue bounce spells, just like our Mystical Tutor and our Merchant Scroll. Our counter package, starting things off with our soft counters. As always, we have a Silence, a Pyroblast, and Red Elemental Blast. We have our Mental Misstep, our Dispel, our Swan Song, our Flusterstorm, which is really strong in this deck, right? Because we're going to storm off, make a billion copies of Flusterstorm. Our Miscast, our Force of Will, and our Pact of Negation. Notable exclusions are our Fierce Guardianship and the Deflecting Swat, because usually if I'm comboing off, the Lord Drakis is on the stack, and so those free spells, that whole cycle is not as good in a deck like this. More rituals. We have a Rite of Flame and Jessica's Will, and then the rest of our removal package. We have Cyclonic Rift, and that's it. Our draw package. We have our Faithless Looting, Frantic Search, Brainstorm, Gitaxian Probe, Preordain, and our Ponder. And then, of course, we have our wheels with our Windfall, Wheel of Misfortune, Wheel of Fortune, and our Time Twister. And, of course, with all those wheels, you better believe we're going to have our Narset in here. Partner of Babe. Rest in peace, Hullbreacher. Our other enchantments, we have Ristic Study and Mystic Remora. And then for our artifacts, just a bunch of rocks, really. Mana Crypt, Soul Ring, Mana Vault, Grim Monolith, Mox Diamond, Chrome Mox, Mox Opal, Fel Warstone. The price point of the Fel Warstone, I didn't even know it was so ridiculous. I didn't know if it was the 7th edition was the only time, 9th edition was the only time Fel Warstone was printed foil. Arcane Signet, Talisman of Progress, Talisman of Creativity, Lotus Petal, and then a Cloudstone Curio, just so I can loop my own dockside without the Lord Drakis. To be honest, there's no real. So it's a weird deck, right? So I'm generating Infinite Treasure, but I don't have an infinite mana outlet. Really, the only way I'm trying to win is with the Brain Freeze and the Thassa's Oracle into an empty library. So I don't know. It's a weird deck. This deck, infinite mana with no outlet really. Some notable exclusions in this deck before we get into our land is the high tide. I know some cedh versions of this deck run high tide, but it's a 3-color deck, and really, running a high tide, Palinchron, or Cloud of Fairies. Like, Cloud of Fairies is a really good target for Vadrok, but it's really asking a lot for high tide combos in a 3-color deck. And I know I've seen like those lists, and they make compromises. They run the Triome just so like it's another island, and it's just too much. It's just asking too much, in my opinion. So there are no high tide combos in this deck, but we do of course have our 9 fetches. And I believe we have 4 islands. Snow-covered island, no particular reason. I just don't own more than 1 copy of regular basic lands. If I'm gonna run so many of basic land, then it might as well be snow, because there are more things I could do with snow. So I just don't own more than 1 basic land. We have our 3 duels and our 3 Shockerinos. Now, usually white is a very weak color in these decks, but in this deck, white is really important to have access to immediately. We have our other duels. We have a Sea of Clouds, Training Center, and a Fiery Islet. Just memeing. Fiery Islet. We have the best of the rest. We have our Ancient Tomb, which could be something else, right? Maybe it could be a mountain, or maybe it could be another rainbow land, because this deck is particularly heavy with the colors. Maybe I could, but then I would probably remove the Mana Crypt and the the Grim Monolith, because everything's like everything in this deck is just so color intensive. So maybe Ancient Tomb gets swapped out for something else. In the Rainbow Lands, we have a Command Tower, Gemstone Caverns, Spire of Industry, Mana Confluence, and finally our City of Brass. And that is Vadrok in 2021. With the release of the Geist Wave, maybe that helps the deck a little bit. Oh, so yeah. So one time I was able to assemble all the opponent's commanders on my side of the field, just because you're inherently running these bounce spells. So I was able to really abuse the shit out of my Gilded Drake. Which brings me to my next point. I think this deck maybe is not so good in a cEDH environment, right? It's a little too slow. And it's not good at all in a casual format. I mean, if you get your intuition, you're just going to intuition the shit out of somebody, and that's a wrap. But then what are you going to do? You're going to brain freeze them, but you don't casual. Like, everyone, for no reason, has Titans in their deck. So what do you do then? But also, in casual, dockside is like a terrible card. You're not going to get dockside value. In this deck, you need to produce 7 treasure for you to get your combo off. And in casual, unless it's like turn 87, like you're not gonna be able to dockside super quick. So there's that. So yeah, this is a part 1 of 5 for the Apex series. I'm gonna go in order from the ones I feel are the strongest all the way down to the weakest. So stay tuned. I'm gonna just post that up like bam, bam, bam. Video, like all of them in like the next 2 days. So stay tuned. Thanks.